Close your eyes and let the night carry you across deserts and mountains into a time when the world was vast and mysterious, filled with lands unknown and peoples unseen. Stars lit the skies like watchful eyes, and the earth stretched endlessly beneath the feet of travellers. Among those travellers was a man chosen by destiny, a man known as Dhul-Qarnayn. Some called him a king, others a conqueror, others still a servant of the divine. He was not like other rulers who sought power for themselves. His journeys were not for greed, but for guidance, for justice, and for protecting the weak. Dhul-Qarnayn travelled to the far west, where the sun seemed to dip into the ocean. He found people living on the edge of the earth, and he dealt with them in fairness, ruling with justice and compassion. Then he journeyed eastward, to lands where the sun rose on people with little shelter. Again, he acted with wisdom, bringing balance where there was need. But his greatest trial awaited him in the far north, in a place between two great mountains, where the people lived in fear of a force they could not control. When Dhul-Qarnayn reached this land, the people came to him with trembling voices. "O Dhul-Qarnayn," they said, "between these mountains are tribes of terror, Yajouj and Majouj. They spill across our land in countless numbers, consuming everything in their path, leaving only destruction. They eat our harvest, they trample our homes, they show no mercy. Build for us a barrier between them and us, and we will pay you tribute." The fear in their eyes was clear, but so too was their hope, for they believed Dhul-Qarnayn carried the strength of the divine. But Dhul-Qarnayn did not seek riches. He replied, "What my lord has given me is better than what you offer. Lend me your strength, and together we will build a barrier." And so, under his command, the people worked with iron and molten copper, stacking blocks between the mountains, creating a wall so high and strong that Yajouj and Majouj could not climb it, nor break through it. When the work was done, Dhul-Qarnayn looked upon the wall and said, "This is a mercy from my lord, but when the promise of my lord comes to pass, he will level it to the ground, and the promise of my lord is true." For generations after Dhul-Qarnayn, the wall stood tall between the mountains. Behind it lived Yajouj and Majouj, countless in number, restless and relentless. It is said they were like waves of chaos, spreading wherever they went. They consumed without thought, destroyed without mercy, leaving lands barren and broken. Their numbers were beyond counting. When one fell, 10 more would rise. The people believed that as long as the barrier stood, they were safe. But they also knew the words of Dhul-Qarnayn, "When the promise of my lord comes, the wall will fall." Yajouj and Majouj are often described not only as tribes of flesh and blood, but also as symbols. They represent the forces of chaos, the parts of humanity that are wild and unrestrained. Greed, anger, corruption, the hunger that never ends. Where Dhul-Qarnayn brought order, they brought disorder. Where he built walls of iron, they tore down harmony. And so their story is not just about distant tribes, but about the struggle within every soul. The scriptures tell that near the end of time the barrier will crumble. Yajouj and Majouj will surge forth like a flood, overwhelming the earth. They will swarm over mountains and valleys, devouring resources, leaving only ruin. The people will cry out and divine help will come. Their destruction will not come from human swords, but from the power of the one who first contained them. And so their release is both a test and a reminder that human power alone cannot control chaos forever. Only faith, patience, and divine guidance can. But beyond the prophecy, the story whispers something more personal. Each of us carries a kind of Yajouj and Majouj within, desires unrestrained, thoughts that scatter like armies, impulses that overwhelm reason. The wall Dhul-Qarnayn built is also the wall we must build inside, the discipline of the mind, the strength of the spirit, the faith that guards us from being consumed by our own chaos. Imagine yourself with Dhul-Qarnayn standing before that great iron wall, behind it the roar of chaos, before it the calm of faith, and within you the choice to build your own barrier of peace. Breathe deeply and let that barrier guard your rest. Generations passed, and the wall of Dhul-Qarnayn stood strong. Behind it, Yajouj and Majouj pressed and clawed, but they could not cross. For the people, The wall was more than iron. It was a symbol of divine mercy. It reminded them that even in the face of overwhelming chaos, there is protection when faith is strong. But Dhul-Qarnayn's warning lingered. When the promise of my Lord comes, he will level it to the ground. The people knew the wall was not forever. It was mercy for a time, but not a substitute for trust in the Creator. It is told that in the last days, when the world nears its appointed end, the barrier will crumble. Yajouj and Majouj will pour out like a flood, covering the earth in numbers too great to resist. Their chaos will be unmatched, and humanity will feel helpless before them. But their rise will also be their fall, for they will only move as long as divine wisdom allows. Just as they were contained once, they will be destroyed not by human effort, but by the command of the Almighty. This is the prophecy, and yet it carries more than fear. It carries a reminder that no force of destruction is beyond the reach of divine power. Beyond prophecy, there is a truth for every soul. Yajouj and Majouj are not only tribes of the earth, but also forces within the heart. They are the desires that never rest, the impulses that overwhelm reason, the greed that consumes without end. Each of us must build our own barrier, just as Dhul-Qarnayn built his, not of iron, but of patience, not of copper, but of discipline, not of stone, but of faith. And each night, as you lay your head to rest, you are building that wall again, choosing calm over chaos, trust over fear, peace over unrest. So tonight, let the story of Yajouj and Majouj become more than history. Let it be your meditation. Imagine the great wall between the mountains, standing tall against the roar of chaos. Imagine it not only before you, but within you, a barrier of light around your heart protecting your dreams. Whatever storms try to rise in your mind, they cannot cross this wall. Whatever restless thoughts press against you, they cannot break through. You are guarded. You are safe. Breathe deeply now and let this image cradle you. The stillness of the night, the strength of the wall, the peace of faith. Remember, chaos may exist, but it does not rule you. Like Dhul-Qarnayn, you have been given the strength to face it, to contain it, to rise above it. And as your eyes grow heavier, let your inner wall shine bright, holding back all fears until only peace remains. Sleep now in the mercy of that protection and awaken renewed.